Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Well, good morning and welcome, everyone, all you coffee breakers and first timers. You are live with me, and I am your host, Senabella, and this is Coffee Break. How is everyone doing? Let me see. I think you all are doing great. In fact, I'm pretty sure you are. And right now, right in the room, early with me, I'm going to say good morning to Abantu. Good morning, Grand Rising, Abantu. Thank you so much for coming into the room. You know you're here for that moment in which I love to open up and to have this mantra of wake up feeling beautiful. And so let's all share in the celebration of life today as we move forward. There are so many things happening on the ground that we have to figure out how we can sort of pre-register ourselves in the morning. We got to register when we get up, reset our minds, our bodies, our spirits, our souls, and prepare for the day forward, and always with the expectation that everything will go great. So how you doing, Abantu? How you been? Let me know. Give me a response that I love to. I love seeing your face. You know that I just absolutely adore you. It's always good when you can recognize that life continues and you can find new people who come into your life and gives you another stream of consciousness and a sense of security about living here on this planet. So having said that, let's just get right into it. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. 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 So beautiful, beautiful. I want to wake up feeling 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 beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. I want to wake up with the joy in my eyes and love in my heart. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. I want to wake up. I want to wake up. Yeah, yeah. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. Hey, good morning, Asada. What a pleasure to see you here, dear sister. We love you. Wake your beautiful waking mantra. I love it too. It's such a blessing to receive something and be able to share it. It's so good to see your face, Asada. Always my strong sister and supporter. My little young sister, actually, she's like I'm her mama kind of person in her life. But it's always my blessing to see you here. Thank you so much for your support. Asada has a beautiful show here on the Female Solution. And I'm just grateful for her being here. She is certainly a reason why I smile every single day. So while we're at it, we're going to talk about what we have coming into the room today. This sister that's coming in is going to really just sort of provide for us a walk through the park of health and wellness. And she's on a serious journey. And her journey is to bring, wellness and health into our lives from another perspective. And her name is Dr. Avida Bussell. Now, I've always been saying Bussell. I always take everybody's last name, and I think Black folks end up having French kind of names when I finish with them, right? And that's just so wrong. But at the end of the day, it's my good heart intentions, and I want you to know that. But she does all types of things, and I'm not going to try to define those things for her, but she is a professional medical doctor who has, for 19 years, been on this journey to heal our communities and from the inside out. And then now she's taking on the challenge of holistic medicine and healing us with all kinds of wonderful things. And I'm not going to delay it too much as people come into the room. And as I see the room, I want to continue to acknowledge you. Good morning, Bill. How are you? Speaking of medicines, hopefully today, you will find Dr. Bussell as someone that you will get more information about how to care for yourself as you're on your journey to healing from that accident that you took on. But look, at the end of the day, the beautiful thing is that what I want to do is to bring in Dr. Bussell so that you all can begin to meet her, know her, and to fall in love with her as I have and all of the wonderful work she's done. I met her at a seminar, a symposium that was done by Dwight McKee, and I helped him to produce it and end up speaking on it as well. But wow, Dr. Bussell was there, and she turned the room upside down with her when she conveyed to us how we needed to learn how to eat to live, what we needed to do about food, and how that was seen as a commodity. And she talked about it from an international perspective as the global effect of food and how it's going to affect our lives and what we need to do in order to become, say, rich with food and our choices in food. So I'm not going to delay it. Let me bring to the screen Dr. Bussell. Dr. Bussell. I'm saying that because it's Dr. Avida Bussell, but it just sounds strange for me to say that. Anyway, here we go.
Hi.
Yes. And I haven't had a live in the last week or so. I've been so busy. So I'm in this room and I'm just excited and like buzzing around like bees and so forth, trying to get into the show today. So look, everyone, please, Dr. Avida Bussell. How you doing today?
I am doing magnificent this morning. Yes, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for extending this invitation to me. I always welcome the opportunity to share my story and my vision to hopefully encourage others who may be struggling in this life journey's purpose is what I call it, So thank you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction.
I remember when we met, and at the end, everybody was like, what does she do? What does she do? And somebody said, she's a singer. And I laughed because she sings, because of course I was a part of the symposium, and the framework was, what do we teach our children?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and you have a child yourself. You have a son, correct?
I do. I have an adult. I have a 30-year-old son.
That's like hard to believe. You don't look like you have a 30-year-old son.
Thank you.
Obviously, something you're doing is right.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Hmm.
I hope so. It's work, but it's primarily. I tell people it's primarily diet and lifestyle. We're living in some tough times right now. Life is stressful. It's hard. The best thing that we can do is build that foundation of wellness. That's the best thing that we can do. It's going to help to ground you. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, but that's one of the key things to maintaining at least a youthful spirit. Yeah.
So survival will be based upon how we receive and we work with what's going on without allowing it to affect us in the way. Because a lot of the things that are going on out here on the ground really aren't true or are true enough that if they change, there's nothing we can do about it because it's been planned and it's been going on for a while.
That's right. That's right. It's been planned long ago is my belief. And so we should have been preparing a while ago, all of us, mentally, preparing our communities. Really, I mean, I'm a faith-based person. So if you're most faith-based people, you kind of anticipate that this is coming at some point in time. But
Mm-hmm.
we still have to take care of this temple that
Mm-hmm.
we are in right now, right? And a lot of us have been neglecting our temples, and it has dire consequences long term. We see it. We see it with the epidemic of chronic illness and diseases in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It could not be more evident at this time. And our communities are especially affected.
Would you say that we break down mentally before we break down physically, or does one precipitate the other?
It's a 180. Sometimes physical ailments can cause depression, they can cause anxiety. So sometimes the physical can lead to emotional and mental. And then
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes the emotional and mental can definitely lead to physical. We know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We see it
Yeah.
with mental illness. So, with certain mental illnesses, we know that life expectancy is cut short, right? Because that self care mentality is lost. So you can definitely see it there.
Hmm.
Yeah. So maintaining your mental well being, even in terms of depression and anxiety, is also very important. Remaining grounded, learning to deal with stress in a healthy manner. Those are key things that we should be doing so that when we're confronted with new stressors, escalating stressors, we're more prepared, we're more ready.
With so much concern about people saying we got to stock our shelves and make sure we have food and we have water and we're safe and we have to have these sort of survival kits. How can one gauge where they are in readiness, even
Mm,
with all of the say physical things that you have, available that you've provided for yourself? How can one be ready to
yeah.
uh, defend their physical well-being?
Yeah. So it
Um,
starts by, like I said, building that foundation. Now, in terms of having those items on you in your presence, I say start having that conversation with your family. Now, if you're a single person, you've got to do the work. You've got to have at least a 30-day, a 60-day supply of goods. I hate to make it sound that, so immediate, but you have to have that supply of goods. If you are a part of a family, you guys organize and you decide, okay, who's going to have what. We're going to need food, we're going to need water, we're going to need toiletries of some sort. So you get to organize and you get to thinking about it. Um, Many of us are not prepared, and we don't know when it's coming. We don't know. It may not ever come, but it probably is coming sometime.
well,
So,
Bill Morgan says that he's staying temporarily in a nursing home right now. He said, I see these
okay,
issues personally. But I
okay,
also want to give a little background. Bill Morton, who is a new acquaintance of mine through this here medium, but also through his wonderful partner, Trudy Leon. He he had an accident coming
okay.
down the steps from a train, and it caused both of his feet to go backwards.
Oh,
And
wow.
so they have been, I imagine, realigned. He can correct me on any of those. But now he's staying in the nursing home as he recovers. But he's a this man. This is a person who was a civil servant, an alderman in Rogers Park, working on the board, and he had just actively And he's right now back to work doing stuff, which is really amazing to me, his resilience, which I think that's what we're talking about, the resilience of spirit. How do we survive these things, like, what's going on? And like being here this morning, Bill, I see that as part of your well-being, that you're still actively engaged in life, that you haven't walked away from everything, sort of this woe is me, I feel sorry for myself. And he just lost his father.
Oh, wow.
These things happened at the same time. And he's just a reflection of how many of us have had to deal with things, right?
Absolutely.
So, Bill, he says staying temporarily in a nursing home right now, I see these issues personally. Wow. What are some of those things? And Asada says, I had to really handle my stress and gave attention to healing my adrenal glands. So let me just let you continue to talk and speak on those things. And I'm going to,
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of adrenal gland issues, and I'm not surprised by it, right? That's the gland that produces all that stress hormone. And we're seeing hypertrophy. We're seeing, not often, we don't see cancer as much, but we're seeing a lot of this. People are stressed. We're living in a fight or flight culture now. And so, like I mentioned, it's important that we ground. It's important that we create routines. And it's important that we build the foundation of health. I would like to hear more about Mr. Morton's experience in the nursing home, if he wants to share it, when he says that he's dealing with it on a personal level. I would like to hear a little bit more about it if he's open to sharing.
So yeah, Bill, she wants to hear more about what you're experiencing right now in the nursing home, that is with regard to your comment of what you're seeing, those issues. What are some of those issues that you see? Can you expound on that? And also, Asada said, I had to really handle my stress and gave attention to healing my adrenal glands big time. What did you do to handle that? Why don't you speak to that? Because one of the specialties that Dr. Avida Bussell is giving is a provision of holistic healing as well. So, I mean, you're going to talk about that, right?
I am.
And then I just want to just acknowledge people as they come in. Good morning, Dolores. She's in the room with us. And so we have guests still coming in, and we're going to continue to grow in this conversation. So please go ahead. I'll leave you to speak on that.
Okay. So, when we talk about foundational medicine, when we talk about building that pyramid of health, a lot of times we'll jump immediately to supplementation. We want to do, and there's nothing wrong with it. We think about things that are very external to us, right? But it starts from the inside out, okay? And the Bible gives us a lot of guidance in how we should eat and how we should live. Sometimes we want to ignore the Old Testament, the Mosaic laws of, eating and caring for ourselves, but it still rings true today. So when we talk about foundational wellness, we're talking about diet and nutrition, right? What does your plate look like? Living people eat living foods, right? So a lot of what we're eating is not food. I think I spoke about, and I'll mention it again, how a lot of the foods that are sold here in America are not accepted overseas. They don't want it, okay? Because they know that it's not healthy. A lot of it, some of it's carcinogenic. It has carcinogenic ingredients in it. The second thing to think about, the second most important thing to think about, aside from diet and nutrition, is going to be hydration, okay? And so I'm still amazed at the number of people who tell me they don't want to drink water. They don't drink it. They're drinking, I don't know what they're drinking, coffee, tea, milk, soda pop, you name it. But water is your vehicle of transportation in your body. We accept in water. You have to drink the water. And so we get into this whole dialogue about, well, should it be distilled, purified? I'd say just don't drink tap water. My personal preference is distilled water and spring water, but we should be drinking half our body weight in ounces every single day, unless you have some type of water restriction. That's what we should be drinking. I'd say the next most important thing is going to be movement, right? We need to move. We need to stretch. Lack of exercise and prolonged sitting changes our body's posture. It changes our structure. It impacts our biological functions. We don't really think about that. a study was done where it showed that prolonged sitting is the new smoking. Okay.
What did you just say?
Prolonged sitting is the new smoking.
Prolonged sitting is the new smoking.
The new smoking. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just sits still, do nothing.
Yeah. Just
Wow.
yeah. You're not moving. Things are just static.
Mm.
Yeah. We need to move to increase our circulation, increase our lymphatic flow. Our joints need movement for lubrication. Okay. Yeah. So it's very important.
I never thought of it the way that you just said. The
Mhm.
smoking, it's a replacement for cigarettes.
It has the same impact on the body.
So Bill is chiming in. He said, yes, that there's depression, pain management issues, physical disabilities. He says some CNAs and rehabilitative staff are not interested in their jobs, and they do not look at myself or other patients as equals. So he's talking about the disparity of care and that level in the nursing home. But before I close out and say this, there's also what you said about food, right?
Absolutely.
And I know in nursing homes, the food is like the worst in the world for them. So how people in long stays in nursing homes are not being rehabilitated, not truly.
No, they aren't. They aren't. And when we think about healthcare, we like to think about it as being a charitable organization, a nonprofit organization, but it is a profit-driven entity, right? And food counts, all right. So they're not heavily investing in organic produce, and the diet is not ideal. I've had family members in nursing homes, and we ended up having to bring in food on a near daily basis because the food wasn't good. Not only does sometimes, and I'm not saying this is true for all nursing homes, but sometimes does it not only taste bad, it's just not good for you.
And so I see them bring in a lot of outside food in from like restaurants and what have because they're still trying to deal with the quality of taste.
Yes.
And they're lonely and they're by themselves and they're not being heard and going through so many things. So he says mental health issues on the floor, and like that whole nursing home thing is just, that's just, oh my God.
It's a problem. It's an issue and it's a problem.
And remember during COVID, and I'm sorry, during COVID, our seniors and people in nursing homes were locked in. And so here we are at another place where we're about to deal with this same kind of dynamic. How do we protect and value our family members who are in these facilities? How are they going to be cared for and secured?
Well, good question. So if you have got the resources and the structures to bring them out, you bring them out, you bring them home. That's my first recommendation.
Do you have to have them, or should you just care enough and create it as you go? I mean, really, what's the real option here? Because once you leave them in there, it might be worse than anything you could bring them home to.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not a fan. I mean, I know that it's. I've had family members in nursing home settings. I've had them there. My preference would have been to bring them to my home. It just unfortunately didn't work. So what my family did was we went there every day. We rotated. Someone was there every day for a few hours. We called. We made it known that we loved our loved one. We talked to the nutritionist and the dietitian about what else can we offer food-wise. We brought in fresh fruits. We did all of that. It's work. So, I mean, you're going to sacrifice on one end or the other. I would say if you can bring that loved one home, bring them home. Bring them home.
It's just a big deal. Asada says, she says, I go to a nutritionist and take natural things that have successfully calmed them back down.
Ah, beautiful.
So, Asada, say what it is what did you state what your problem was before you said what your actions were to resolve the issues you had? I think she did. I'm going to look at it.
It was an adrenal issue.
Yeah. And so I think she also had a stroke. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's been a journey, but it's really beautiful when you see someone take a proactive approach to their health care. And so I'm going to leave this window to you for a minute and talk about those proactive approaches and things that we need to address without my interruption.
It's okay. So let's recap a little bit because I am a supplementation girl. But I tell people now, we kind of left off with I think we talked about diet and nutrition. Living people eat living foods. We talked about hydration. Water is the vehicle of transportation in the body. We are 70% water. We need to be drinking half our body weight in ounces every day, unless we have some water restrictions due to kidney or heart issues. Movement. We have to move for our lymphatic system, for our lymphatic and our circulatory system. We now Studies have now shown that sitting is the new smoking. In fact, they have attributed a sedentary lifestyle to the onset of several, I think it's close to 30 chronic diseases. That's crazy. So we need to move every day. And movement doesn't mean you are doing a Jane Fonda workout. Just get up and walk. Every hour, get up and move get up and move for 10 minutes. Okay? So movement is very important. The next one that I'd like to bring up is sunlight. Now we're getting ready to enter the winter months, right? So we're not going to get as much sun as we normally get. And this is the season when a lot of people, many people develop what we call mood dysthymia, or a little bit of depression. That's the impact of not having more sunlight. Sunlight is essential to us. We are sunlight people. Sunlight, we know lack of sunlight can cause low vitamin D levels, which can subsequently affect your hormones, poor eyesight, and like I mentioned, depression. All right. So we got diet, nutrition, we got hydration, we got movement, we have sunlight, and then let's talk about sleep. Okay. I remember, and I'm probably telling my age, I remember when television went off at midnight. There was no more television to watch. We didn't have VCRs. We didn't have any social device, any devices where we could watch movies. We went to bed. But now we have 24 hours of entertainment in our homes. And so many of us are taking advantage of it to our own detriment. Chronic sleep deprivation affects your learning, your memory, your decision making, and your mental health. In fact, it can shorten your life expectancy by years. We need to establish a good sleep routine. Okay, that is important. And then let's talk a little bit about stress. I think Asana mentioned stressors and her having some abnormalities or some issues with her adrenal gland. And she's gotten it under control, it sounds like, with diet and lifestyle. And then she's also taking some supplements. We got to learn to manage, we have to learn to manage our stress in healthy ways. So that's developing healthy coping strategies. What does that look like? It looks like prayer. It looks like meditation. For some people, it's taking a walk. For some people, it's a crossword puzzle. For me, it's breath work. I take some supplementation. I take supplements that help to kind of calm down. I would even almost say my parasympathetic, sympathetic tone. And so that for me, that's ashwagandha. I take a little GABA every now and then. This is me. I'm not giving out any medical advice. And I don't know how many people are familiar with, there's a Chinese body clock. It's being talked about more and more now. It's our biological circadian rhythm clock. Studies have shown that if we function within the dynamics of this circadian rhythm clock, there are health benefits associated with it. So what does that mean? It means awakening with the sun, okay? It means eating with the sun. And I know that sounds weird, but eating your main big meal at around noon when the sun is at its highest. And it means going to bed really around sunset time, which is pretty early for most of us, but at least by 9 p.m., okay? It also kind of means a little bit of intermittent fasting, right? Because it means we're not eating at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. We're cutting it out so that our body can rest. It can work on healing. It can work on repair. It can work on creating new cells. So the circadian rhythm is something that I think everybody should expose themselves to. You can Google it. It's the Chinese body clock. It's the circadian rhythm clock. Google it. It's another, and it's something that I've added to my Wellness Foundation program. Another bit of advice that I'm telling people, I've been telling for years now, stop using the microwave. Stop microwaving your food. You're not getting any nutrition from microwave food. And so that's in your home. That's when you go out and eat restaurant foods. A lot of times they're nuking your food to rewarm it. It's you have no nutrition. There's no nutritional value in it.
And it tastes awful.
And it does taste bad, right?
I just want to go back to the circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
We did a big thing on television a couple of years ago, which I actually found out about it before then, and recently started signing on to it. And I know that Asada walks every day now, and she's right at the beach. But one of the things they say is you take your shoes off and reset and rebalance you reset your body standing in the sand on the dirt. And 30 minutes of that can give you a completely new overhaul to your physical well-being. They said it improves healing and everything. So if we just start to take into consideration some of these things that you're saying, like I love this idea of eating with the sun, right? So I'm an early person, and I enjoy sitting at my table, which is right at the window, and having my food while the sun is flashing in the house. But I never thought about it in terms of my well-being. But you did say something else that made me aware, was that how, oh girl, it's just so much. I can keep going. I'm not.
Let's talk about it.
Something. So I just want you to know that they're chiming in. Henri Salas Chiller says, when my mom was in a nursing home, we visited her every day. The only meal we missed was breakfast because visiting hours didn't start until after 9 a.m. Bill said that Trudy some days can only visit for 5 minutes due to her very busy schedule time and responsibilities. But she sometimes gets here at 7:45 p.m. Visitors must leave before 8, but she also brings him meals.
Oh, beautiful.
He has a support system.
Yes.
And without the support system, these are things that we're discussing here, you're sharing with us today, that we can do without a support system.
Absolutely.
Even if where you are in a nursing home, you can go find a window to sit in where the sun is, right?
Yeah.
You can ask to be taken to a room where there's more outside area in it, and it helps you feel more socialized, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they did a study that showed that people in the hospital who had beds that were closer to the window did better. They got released sooner, their recovery time was faster. And that's through a window in a hospital. You know, that's the power of sunlight. But absolutely.
Wow, it's amazing how much simpler healing is than we think of it. We think of it in a bottle with pills.
We do.
We think of it at a point in time to go to the doctor. And unfortunately, a lot of our parents and our older sisters and brothers are not well and living off of bottles.
Yes.
I know you're a medical doctor as well as you're going into you're practicing doing other things. So why don't we talk about that, a little bit more?
Okay.
Like, one, how is it that you came into medicine, and why, and how has that affected your life as a result of that?
Okay. Well, you know what? I grew up in I had an interesting home dynamic. My father was a vegetarian. He juiced, he was juicing before it became popular. My mom would do these 21-day fasts. So I came up in a kind of, almost a unique kind of home environment. And so that vegetarian mindset stuck with me. I did go through a phase where I consumed animal products. I've been a vegetarian now for many years. And I do fast, as often as I can. It's become more difficult, honestly. But I grew up with that background in mind. Now, I really didn't start considering medicine until in my late 20s. I was somewhat distrustful of our medical system because of the horrific experiments that have been performed on Black people. I considered other things like journalism and teaching, and then I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. And although leery of the practice of medicine in this country, my interest in science and medicine just continued to grow. I ended up researching and considering other healthcare fields like chiropractor care, but it was very, very limited. So me and traditional medicine would have a weekly showdown, and I'm not kidding, for years. It like haunted me. Medicine, I felt like, was always staring me in the face and saying, come on, come on, come on. And I had a lot of reservations. Like I said, I grew up in a kind of a holistic minded household, and I had taken on that personality. And then I think finally, after I had several conversations with doctors in traditional medicine, Western medicine, my concerns were eased. They were addressed. And I guess my biggest concern was I didn't want to unknowingly participate in a system that was still experimenting and targeting select populations, and that just did more harm than good. Um, and so, I like I said, my concerns were adequately addressed. And so I think around that time I was in my late 20s. During that time, I began to really understand the impact of illness and injury on people, families, and communities. I saw how illness can rob families and communities of life and stability. And at the age of 30, I made a self declaration that I wanted to be an asset to my community by providing quality health care as a medical doctor. My official journey began 2 years later at the age of 32 at the University of Chicago. And so that's kind of how I started. And that's, yeah.
Wow. At 30.
Yeah, at 32.
At 30.
32, yeah.
I think what you're saying, it really speaks to us making good choices and better choices, or choices, period,
Yeah.
as we move through our life, that we're not really stuck in one place, that we can evolve and go into areas of things. Because as we grow, we become more aware of ourselves as also, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I would love to know if any of our guests here today started in one direction and ended up in another. What did you pivot and do in order to, say, maintain yourself in your life? I know that for Henri, who is here, she pivoted in her 50s. I think she said she was in her 40s or 50s, and she started doing commercial work, and now she's one of the biggest and most sought after people that you can find for commercials. And she's had over 1 billion views on. Yeah, and so who would think that in your 60s that you'd become this phenomenal new person? And I think that's also a part of our well-being too. Our mental health is connected completely to everything we make in our choices and what we do. And to stave off depression, and sometimes it's good to lose a job and have to start all over.
It is. It is. You're firing off new neurons. The brain is working in a way it hasn't worked in before. You're challenging yourself. It does. It promotes it promotes a lot of different things. So, I mean, that's why I encourage people, start a new hobby. Okay. Crossword puzzles are amazing. We've got brain games now that you can do. I'm kind of.
My mother used to do those all the time. She would say, "Bring me some more books." I'm like, "Really? We're going to be buying puzzles and word search games and so forth?" But she loved having us come over and play board games.
Yeah.
Her thinking. She was a writer, and she was used to speaking at events and so forth. And here she was at home often, and so that did, because she was fine going downstairs and working out, but she was like, "No, I need more." And she needed mental stimulation.
Yeah.
How does the mental stimulation, though it's seen as a practice of, say, keeping you sharp, how long can you actually do that before you need to do something more?
Well, that's a good question. I'd say when you start getting bored and you get super, super good at it, do something different. Challenge yourself, do something different. Yeah.
So it's just like everything else. When you're working out physically, you can just get good at it, and it's not having the same effect in terms of building muscle.
Yeah, you got to switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Wow. But speaking of switching up a bit, I'm going to go to a commercial break, and come right back. And I would ask all of you to stay with us, but can you do more? Can you go ahead and like our program? If in fact you do, just leave us a heart, and don't forget to follow and share as we close out today. We're going to come right back with Dr. Bussell. And until then, I want you to just think about what you want to say to her. It's time to talk to Dr. Bussell. I'm calling you Bussell still, right?
Avida.
Yeah, okay, Avida. I could do that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's probably what it is. I'm used to speaking to you saying Avida, and I'm going Dr. So I'm like, there's my challenge, but I'll be right back. We'll be right back.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Wow. Don't you? I just love that commercial. Sisters working together to give information, to educate, and show the enduring bond of family. Yeah. Isn't that great? Yeah. You know, as we were out, Henri came back and she said, I was 58. That's when she said a bold change that was led by my Heavenly Father, and it worked out. And she not only is that so, but that's the thing that's so beautiful about it. And at this point in my journey and meeting people or reintroducing myself to people who have been in my life for a very long time, has really given me such an anchor of well-being and happiness and things that I look forward to. So I would encourage people that new friendships are important.
Yes.
And, you know, so even where you are in a nursing home, even where you are in just sort of living in sort of an isolation, you can reach out and find a new conversation. And it's so important right now to stimulate yourself with this here. And it's a courageous thing to do because you have to trust who you're talking to, right? And everything says now we shouldn't trust anybody and anything. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my bank account has been gotten into. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, I walked into the bank and they had something on screen saying if you had a problem with your account, it's gonna take 30 days. I'm like, 30 days to get my money back? Are you kidding me? So I created a relationship with my banker.
I love it.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you will be hearing from me. Hey, how you doing? You know, Bill, whatever. It's just me calling back, trying to figure out if you all decided to give me my money back. I mean, you know, can you, like, for real. It got to a point my communication was so normal for him that he had me come in and sat down and showed me how the web works against me and how they can see it. And helped me to know how to instruct myself better in the challenge of my online presence with my money.
Yeah.
And taking your cards down, not leaving your cards up when you pay a bill. Take them down. And so so my mental health was improving because I started to feel like, you know, I had some control over what was going on with me.
Yeah.
You know, and it did challenge me to where I was feeling like depressed without realizing it. You know, depression is such an ugly creature that shows up in your life. You don't know what it's doing to you. So you're right. Yes, Henri, creating a relationship with my banker. Yes. They tell you to do it, but we don't always take it seriously. Just like they tell us to create a relationship with our doctor. Talk about that because we talked about, Bill says, I believe that this challenging series of experience will bring a major change in my life. Your mental health is definitely on the right track.
Yeah.
That. But we talked about that relationship with the doctor. We were having that conversation, yesterday?
We did. We had that conversation yesterday. I want to mention something, though, about relationships. So if you haven't watched, it's a documentary on Netflix called Blue Zones. And they're talking about longevity. And they're talking about centurions and how, you know, throughout the world in different communities, people are living well beyond 100 years old. with
What did
active,
you call it?
healthy lives. They're gardening. It's called Blue Zones.
Blue Zones.
Blue
Okay.
Zones. Yep. It's on Netflix. And so they're going in and they're spending time with the people in the community, and they're trying to establish what's the trend, what is giving life to these people. And so a lot of what we've discussed is, they incorporate that type of lifestyle. They have that type of lifestyle. But, every now and then you find someone who smokes cigarettes, just an anomaly within that population. But the key factor that they identified was relationships. So within these communities of centurions, and there were, younger families also, they had fostered and developed relationships with one another. They supported one another. That was the big factor. And even within the family unit, there was a close family unit. We are communal people. We need each other. We need those relationships. Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that.
And part of what is enriching me also in this point in my life, and I'll just say this honestly and openly, I always knew people of other races and said they were friends, but now I have people of other races who are close acquaintances, which is different. And I have a real interest in who they are.
Yeah.
And that has opened my heart up in ways I can't even begin to tell you. I actually am telling people I love you that I never said I love you too, that are of a different ethnicity.
Yeah.
That the human being in us wants to grow.
Yeah.
And there's so much about what we do that will help us to maintain a healthy life. And growing in that way has been like a result that I can't even begin to convey or define at this moment, but it has been very healthy for me.
I can definitely see that. And that's one way to tear down the barriers, right? I was looking at a documentary where it's a pianist, a guy who was a wonderful piano player, tells the story of how he had met someone who was in the KKK, Ku Klux Klan. And so the gentleman was impressed with his musician skills, and he complimented him. And finally, he told him that he was a member of the KKK. And the pianist, the musician said, I can't believe it. I mean, we have so much in common. We are having a wonderful conversation. And they developed a friendship. And that gentleman walked away from that organization. And so the musician decided, I'm going to make this one of my missions. I'm going to make it my mission to do this. And he did. And so he said over the life of his career, he claimed he met 200 Klansmen. And that relationship that he developed with them influenced them, encouraged them to walk away from that lifestyle. So we need relationships with people inside and outside of the community, is my point. Yeah.
Because we never really know where we're going to end up one day and what we'll need, Here's Donna Murray is here. She says, Blue Zones is a powerful series. Hey, Donna. I love that the communal facets of our humanity is the secret sauce.
Yes.
I never let the world tell me on one-on-one contact did in fact bring me healing. Yeah, one-on-one contact does bring you healing. Yeah. There are so many things that have kept us separated. I think at this time it's important to kind of talk about the separation of races is part of what is wrong in our lives. And the separation of races makes it easier for us to separate from our families too.
It does, right?
Separation as a normal thing. Like you get to choose to not be a part of something. Eventually you're not part of anything.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. You separate yourself right on out. Yeah.
So how much do you in your practice have conversations with people when they come in and talk to you about things that you encourage them to do some of the things that you've spoken of here today? I mean, you're moving in many new directions as well. So let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So that is my practice. That is my mantra. That is preached to anyone who I've seen. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel like I have a problem because I'm pretty much friends with all my my patients and my clients. I can't see providing that level of intimate care for someone and not developing that kind of relationship. So I feel like I have very good relationships with my patients. And I think that eases some of their stress level when it comes to interacting with a provider. A lot of people don't feel heard. their concerns are not always addressed. And I think that it's eased a lot of that. Sometimes that's a part of the healing, knowing that you got a provider that you can trust that's listening to you.
I think that this part of the conversation is important too, because we did talk about that relationship with the doctor.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about going to the doctor all the time, but they don't really know their doctors, and the doctors don't really know them. Everybody's bedside manner is different, the patient as well as the doctor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how much of a benefit is it to the doctor and the patient to have a good communication, and how much does that help them in diagnosing them?
Oh, you know what? It's very important, and it's textbook. We're taught that in medical school. But the truth of the matter is that the system doesn't allow for it in many ways. If you are an independent practitioner running your own office and you can make your own schedule, that's great. But if you're working in a corporate medical type setting, you don't have time to, unfortunately, oftentimes you don't have time to foster that kind of relationship with your patients. It doesn't mean you can't have good bedside manner. It doesn't mean you can't listen, but the time is really an issue. And it's unfortunate. And the system is designed that way.
So how much time is actually allocated to each doctor? And so what is a standard amount of time you'll spend with a patient? And when is it too much time?
Okay. So for myself, let's say, for instance, in the emergency room, we were expected to see on average anywhere between 3 to 4 patients an hour. That doesn't sound bad, right? That's roughly 15 minutes, right? But if you're dealing with an emergency, are you going to spend 15 minutes with the patient? Absolutely not. Okay. You may need to dedicate an hour. So that means somebody's going to get cheated out of their time. Okay. That's in an emergency room type setting. Now, in a clinic setting with your primary care doctor, for instance, it's about 10 to 15 minutes.
So we need to take advantage of all those minutes when we're there.
Absolutely.
And because there is no magic formula for what responses there are to what may be going on with you, right?
Absolutely. There's no response. Yeah.
So for someone like Bill, who's in a nursing home, and what would be optimal for him to do in terms of his communication at that level of care?
Okay. So when he's interacting with his nurses, his case manager, and with his physician, is that what we're...
Yeah, all of it.
Got it. Yeah. So
a lot of people to interact with there.
Yeah. So
you can be effective for himself.
Yeah. So create a list of your concerns and your questions and present them. You can present them to your nurse, who's going to be your biggest advocate. You can present it definitely present it to the doctor. You should have a case manager. Voice your concerns and make them known, and have your family members do the same. You can do it in writing so that no one can say that you never voiced these concerns to me. Ask about dietary modifications, and is there an opportunity to do it? Is there an opportunity for me to have a bigger selection? Can I get some more fresh vegetables? Can I get more water? Ask about those types of things. Like you said, create relationships with people in there. I don't know if he's in a room by himself, if he's in, a shared room next to a window. Find out what activities are being offered. And, consider participating.
I know that some people, like myself, I was so ignorant until actually we also know some of the same people. And so there's someone in a nursing home that we know. And I spent a lot of time going to see this friend. In fact, I spent 3 or 4 days out of my week going to see this friend. And it was at that time I realized that a family, one of the things that you have to create when you're in situations like that is to have family and friends come to visit. You got to use your network. And even if you're not in a nursing home, and with Asada and her healing at home, and I hear her speak oftentimes about what she's doing and how she may need some kind of interaction. And she's very fruitful in her life, but healing is a process, and it will require some maintenance and being at home or in place. And so we do need to create relationships that are diverse, and we need to have those relationships work with us. I had a friend tell me her daughter had a breakdown because she was having a mental breakdown, and they had to put her in the psychiatric ward. And it became who's going to go and see about her. And so it does take a village of people. A village can be 2 or 3 people,
It can.
you
Yeah,
know, but we all need to, one, share with each other what's going on,
we
ask,
do.
ask for some help, correct?
That's correct.
Take those situations where we can have people come in, even if it's just a short visit, 5 or 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure we would agree with that, Bill, given what you've said about what's going on. And he says, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And John, you're here in the room. How are you doing today? And we're going to close out. We'll take one more question because I want Dr. Uh, Avida about, I can't help it. I'm
It's
here,
okay.
yeah, to talk about the holistic journey, where you are, what, and about the breathing stuff. I want to hear about that. But John,
Well, the
you
breath.
you work with clients who are what, terminally ill, and you go in and you take care of them. What is it like for you being a caregiver of senior people and having to do so much work to help them to get on their feet? I'd like to hear from you on that if you can, if you don't mind. And Bill says, we'll take your recommendation about writing my needs and concerns. This will also help because I have a medication brain fog. Wow.
Yeah.
Medication brain fog. Yeah.
Polypharmacy is what we call it. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I just talked too much and I missed us.
No. I was just commenting on his comment, medication brain fog. So yeah, the combination of medications, can sometimes not leave us not feeling well. Whether it's a little bit of nausea, it's some brain fog, it's fatigue. And that's something else that I don't know how he's progressing, but sometimes taking a look at your medications, asking your provider to look at my medications. Is there anything that we can lessen? Is there anything that can be removed? I'm experiencing some brain fog.
And all medicines don't work well together. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of medications don't work well together. We now have built-in software that tells us which medications are interacting with each other.
The
And
doctor, you mean you when you say software, you're speaking that when you're for
when I'm
you.
yeah, for me, yeah, when I'm seeing patients, and so when I'm perhaps ordering new medications for people, it allows me to see whether or not it's gonna interact, whether or not I'm gonna have drug to drug interaction. So we have this built-in software, which is so important. And so I'll encounter someone who's already on 3 or 4 medications that are interacting with each other in a sometimes very bad way. And they've been on these medications for years. And so when I go to compound that by giving them an additional medication, the system is saying no, no. And I'll say to them, well, the system's saying, you probably shouldn't have this antibiotic or this medication with your existing medications. And they will argue with me and say, ma'am, I've been on this medication before. Nothing happened before. And I like to remind people it can always happen. By the grace of God, it didn't happen. So, consider the combination of medications that you're taking. Your pharmacist should be reviewing it with you. Your medical doctor should be reviewing it with you, especially if you're on these medications daily. Yeah.
Wow. So Asada said she used juiced cucumber, and she said it does wonders for clearing her head manifestations.
I love it.
So what are some of the things that you do in the healthcare that you're providing that is here on this piece here, the detox, the breathing energy? Can we talk about that? Take a minute with it before we get out of here, because
yeah. So okay, so I'm also a licensed massage therapist. So what I do is I do what's called functional medicine wellness assessments on people, and help them to identify where they are foundationally. Are you getting enough sleep? Is your diet ideal or less than ideal? I do a little bit of testing in the office. I do order blood work on people also. And once I kind of establish where they are, I always start with the recommendations that I mentioned before. I don't just put people on medications unless there's an obvious deficit of some sort. So we start there. Okay, that's the foundation. And then I'm a massage therapist. I believe in touch and I believe in the power of massage. And so that's another intervention that's offered. For many people, we talked about sunlight and people not getting adequate sunlight. I offer something called far infrared therapy. Okay, so it's a way of heating up the body internally, activating what's called the mitochondria, kind of emulating the sun in a way and activating that immune system. And so that's kind of where I am with people. I find that I literally have to start with the foundation in just about everyone that I see. We've gotten so far off the grid because of our culture that we're no longer identifying those fundamental things. Yeah.
Well, we have so many comments coming in as we close out. Asada says, I'll use your massage therapy for my daughter.
Okay.
John says, he's working with a nonverbal man who has autism, another gentleman with Parkinson's.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. He says, basically providing a patient with essential care according to their health issue. I care for patients that have congestive heart failure, a patient cut from pancreatitis. I imagine caregivers in the health field in which he's in, there's a lot of interaction at levels that they probably don't even know to anticipate. So I'm just going to close out with saying this before you have your last say, because we are out of time. We are 101. I think I can go for another minute. I forgot what I was going to say. I think I want to leave the last word to you. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, I like to share my vision. So I have a big imagination, and my vision my vision continues to evolve and expand. Right now, I think we are witnessing a transformation in medicine with a demand for more integrative and functional medical care. And I think it's being pursued by people because they're looking for safe, alternative, non-invasive, and non-pharmacological ways to stay healthy. This is a great time to be alive. It always is a great time to be alive. I tell people to educate yourselves, explore what's out there. There is a wealth of information out there. I wish I could share a few resources. I think I have time, maybe Senabella, to share just a few resources if you're not already. Let me see. I had some things I wanted to share. Resources, books. There's a book called Damn Diseases. There's Back to Eden. There's Dr. Africa's book. Dr. Sebi has written, some folks have written on behalf of Dr. Sebi some wonderful information. There's a book called Good Energy. There's Atomic Habits. These are all books. These are amazing books to start with. And then there are documentaries. What the Health, Diet for a New America, Game Changers, Food Inc. Start there if you're if you're just clueless about where to start. And then reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you.
Well, one thing's for certain, we have to have you back. I hope you do come back. And we can pick up from where we left off, because those are great recommendations. It's a recorded show. You can pick it back up again. Watch it on YouTube. You can watch it again on Facebook. And it's going to be there for us for 30 days on Facebook and always at YouTube. Thank you so much for coming in, everyone. Avida, it's been a pleasure to see you. We'll continue to talk. Luana, thank you for coming in. And wow, we have so much going on. So just because I don't want to be disrespectful to what it is we do here at the Female Solution and honor our time, I'm going to close out. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. There are comments that are still coming in. It's been a wonderful opportunity for us to talk to Avida Bussell, who is giving us all of the tea that we need to hear and talk about. And as I say, thank you so much for coming into Coffee Break with Senabella, everyone. I look forward to seeing you. And I will put up on my page Dr. Bussell's information that she's given to us today. So you can take a look at it. You'll have information where you can call her and speak to her yourself personally and get more information. And we're going to look forward to having her to come back. I see you, Senabella. Okay, Randall, I see you, Senabella. Keep doing great things. That's what we're going to do. We're going to all do it together. Everybody, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a wonderful, wonderful hour with Dr. Bussell. Okay, have a good day, everyone. I love you. And keep waking up feeling beautiful. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. So beautiful. Beautiful, so beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Have a good one, everybody. Take care.
Take care.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China,